Smart 24, driving business.
The break is to watch Expertment Business, your daily kick-starter. Yes, Manju Barijam with Matika Timi, of course, driving your business this particular morning. Well, now it's the time for you to get inspired, of course, as we get into our business tips and quotes. But of course, before we get there, don't forget to trade stocks with Zabo. That is a platform from Alltex, which just makes your trading experience much more easy and friendly. Now, simply there, start tonight to hash, and of course, you'll be available with quite lots of options, where you can choose to buy government bonds and securities for just as little as 15,000 Ghana shillings. Well, markets open at 8:15 a.m., closing at 3:15 p.m. East African time, effective Monday up to Friday, except on the weekends and the public holidays when you can access these markets. But at least you have the rest of the days to capitalize and make yourself quite some huge profits. And trading has just been made much more easy. This can be done at any part of the country that you will be at, regardless. And life, I guarantee you, will be quite very remarkable. Zabo now simply says, my money, my future. And Alltex East Africa says, do something new. Well, now this time, let's get into our business tips and quotes. And of course, I hope this will leave you inspired to start up the day. Well, of course, hope you've been inspired by that. But you know, I was so amazed with the last quote, and I was talking to Mercy. But you see, I know these are quotes that you know that are written by people we emulate. But you know, so at some point in life, we need to have this whole aspect of having. Okay, despite what you told me, I have an opinion too. So it's up to me whether your opinion makes sense or aligns with my experience. Because some of these quotes were actually written out of people's experiences, and they differ. You know, some people differ. If you actually read some quotes, they differ from other quotes in terms of based on somebody's experience.
I agree with it. It makes sense to me actually.
Because
you have. I mean, there has to be mistakes for you to keep on improving.
Now, let me ask, if I learn from the mistakes of the people, that's why they say we study history to learn mistakes of the past so that we don't make the same in the future. So does it mean that the same mistakes that made the history we study about, we should do them and make more mistakes?
No, I think, I mean, this is from the perspective of you individually.
Yeah, yeah, of course, even individual basis, I believe. There are things.
Perfection is,
sure.
is I must say is a myth. I don't know. There is no perfection actually.
I believe it's there. Well, this is an argument that can actually go on way probably when we are off air. We shall proceed with it, but it's quite interesting. I don't know what you think about that. Perfection. You really have to make mistakes for it to be perfect. Well, now let's head straight and take a look at what's trending on social media. Okay, now this is at Mogume 29. It says Rujoki Musinguzi, the URA-CG, has revealed that URA is expected to collect 23.9 trillion in the financial year 2023-2024, and of course an increment of over 3.7 trillion from the current year's target.
Well, this is Code Uganda. The budget for the financial year 2023 is worth 52.73 trillion, expected to be financed as below. That is domestic revenue at 33.3 trillion, project support, that is in loans and grants, at 8.25 trillion, then budget support, borrowed funds at 2.7 trillion, and domestic refinancing at 8.3 trillion shillings. Know your budget.
Yeah.
Quite interesting. People are not aware that the budget was launched actually. I must say, this is one of the most anticipated events of the year.
Very true. Now, this is at Nwagira, Stephen Nwagira. It says the national budget cannot be effective without the active involvement and engagement of the nation's citizens. Now, the citizens are not the only beneficiaries of the budget, but also contributors and partners in its formulation, implementation, and oversight. That's why they read the budget publicly. Imagine a place where it wasn't passed to the public, and it all ends
right there
in the back doors.
This is the Ministry of Finance, a national budget financial year 2023-2024 launched by PSST. That is at GOTV on behalf of the Finance Minister. Yeah, right there, signing.
Yeah, launching the budget. Now, this is at Smart 24 TV now. It says by end of financial year 2023-2024, Ughanda's GDP is projected to expand, and that is to 206.54 trillion, equivalent to about 54.99 billion, says the Permanent Secretary. Actually, there was a projection that it's going to increase by 7%. Let's wait and see.
Now this is Jacob. It says counting the cost to Uganda's budget for 2023-2024, Office of the Presidency. Yeah,
43 billion.
33 billion. It is important to
it's important that the budgetary for budgetary allocation.
To note that Kampala's budgetary allocation for the roads is only 33 billion. Patriotism is truly an uphill task.
Interesting.
People have interesting comments.
Yeah, it's all driven by opinion, what people think. Now this is at the Uganda Revenue Authority. Says that essential to note that the register is only 34% of the 9 million Ugandans eligible to pay tax. So there is more work to be done, and the national budget month is a step that is in the right direction.
People actually gave some interesting comments right there. And this is Siatini, Uganda, at Mr. Gobi, Permanent Secretary of Ministry of Finance. Uganda's inflation is reducing due to the well-coordinated fiscal and monetary policy at Know Your Budget 2023 and Siatini Budget 2023.
Okay.
Quite interesting, actually.
Yes, and of course that is regarding the social media trends. But of course, still away from that, let's get into what happened yesterday at the Uganda Media Center as we take a look at the budget, the launch of the budget financial year 2023-2024.
Much. This budget for next year was designed or drafted on certain principles. One of the principles was actually to cut government expenditure. And we've cut that expenditure as the minister is going to read to you the numbers. Next year, we have cut travel abroad. Travel abroad used to be 270 billion, 72 billion. Now it's about 90 billion, I think, 90 billion. for only critical travels. Those which are for resource mobilization, because we must also go where the money is to get it. Like, for example, in the Ministry of Finance, we go for annual meetings of the World Bank and IMF. World Bank has now given us a portfolio of $5.3 billion. Our portfolio with World Bank is $5.3 billion. For you to get that money, you must go and negotiate. You show what you are doing as a country. This is concessional money. Most of this money is very concessional, given to us at very low interest rate, sometimes no interest rate at all, 0 interest rate. A big chunk of it are grants. So we must go and negotiate for that. That one, the Minister of Finance or the Director Debt or a PS can travel. But these big delegations traveling, those ones are no more. We have scaled down on travel abroad. We have scaled down workshops. No workshopping, except for those whose mandate is to workshop. I also want you to note that as journalists, because sometimes I've had some messages, I'm very busy, but they bring them to my attention. The journalists are saying now there are workshops in Parliament. You see, Parliament does its work by workshop. What you are seeing as workshop, money budgeted for workshop, they are actually the meetings of Parliament. That very plenary you see where the Speaker sits to talk to Parliament is a workshop in our chart of accounts. That money you see a budget committee sitting to approve the budget is a workshop according to the chart of accounts. I want you to contextualize that. So with the exception of those few workshops, and also even here where we are, these people have budgeted that we shall be at Media Center to promote the budget month. What is this here? A workshop. Only that in finance we don't usually fund these kind of things. We have come here. But when they go like to Western Uganda, they are going to go regional. They have to travel. They have to go and sleep somewhere so that they can promote the budget with other partners. There you will see some little, but that one we have minimized it. We have been able also in this actually beginning last year, this money you see for PDM, what we call parish development model, 1 trillion, we raised it from the budget without borrowing a coin. We went to the budget and repurposed it, cut spending on certain things. You will hear some people making some dissatisfactory comments. My money was cut for this. Those are the monies we are talking about. We have been rationalizing the budget from about 2021, 22. We have been repurposing the budget, and we shall continue to do that to reduce spending by government. We have also cut cars, vehicles, purchase of vehicles. Next year we are not buying new vehicles. Across government, except for revenue mobilization, because now Johnny has to mobilize money. We have to allow him to buy a few motorcycles and a few cars. Then security people may want to purchase a certain security related vehicle. Ugandans are becoming unsafe. They have to secure you. For us, we don't know those things, so we give them the money to purchase a few of those security-related procurements. But across other, even here, Media Center, my director can't buy a car next year. Never. In so many, my ministry there and others, no cars, no new cars for the future now, as we are saving money to ensure that we finance other critical things.
Well, that is launch of the budget, financial 2023-2024. That's the PSST. That is Ramadan Gobi right there. But of course, still further, we have to take a look at the details here. Among us, all those discussions, we got to see that agriculture is actually expected to perform better. That is in the future. I don't know why agriculture in all the sectors. But of course, we see that Uganda's economic growth is expected to accelerate to 206.54 trillion. That is about 55 billion Ugandan shillings in the next financial year. And of course, as revealed by Ramadan Gobi, the Finance Ministry Permanent Secretary, and of course, while launching the budget month at the Uganda Media Center, that was yesterday. Now, the projections, Gobi said, are expected to account, expected on account of increased oil and gas activities, actually, and increased production arising from effective implementation. That is from the parish development model. Well, you know, Master, the bigger picture in here, if a country doesn't have what to produce to give out there, that means it doesn't have an avenue to access foreign currency. And for most of the countries like Uganda, most of the developing countries, we tend to have this aspect whereby we buy too much, and what we put out there is not value added. Yes. It's just a raw material, which value is added and then brought back to us, and we still spend money. Remember, when you're selling it at a raw material, you're getting it at a cheaper. I mean, you're giving it out at a cheaper price. So any country will take it and add value to it and sell it back to you more expensive.
Yeah, the returns are quite
too small.
Too small for us as Ugandans.
Exactly, and we end up in deficits throughout the time.
Anyway, I like the point where he said that they are cutting costs, which included there won't be any more workshops, so there will be particulars, selected few people.
Of course, priority.
Priority. You know, there's this moving of you go as a huge number of people. Yeah. I mean, we are cutting costs. We are looking for means to survive as a country. So definitely, if we've been in this business of, you know, like there is a conference and 20 people go now, it's going to be cut to maybe 5 or 2 or 3.
Exactly. Okay. Now, of course, these projections, Gobi said, are expected. That is to expected on account of increased gas and oil production, like you said. And of course, he said in his own words here that we expect agriculture to perform better in the future because regional trade has continued to improve. That is for Uganda. And of course, in addition, that is basing on the improvement of the global state. He says that they expect all these conditions that is to get better in the next financial year. Of course, Gobi represented the finance minister, Matia Kasaija. Of course, he also further said that by the end of the 2023-2024, that is fiscal year, Uganda's GDP is projected to rise to that amount, and this in turn will grow the GDP per capita, where each Ugandan will now be in position to get 1,182 US dollars. That's about 4 million. Yeah, 1,000. That is about 4 million. Yes, exactly, 4.4 million. If we share this GDP equally. Now, of course, he says they are enhancing that is domestic revenue mobilization, and of course, as a priority to collect more resources, you know, and finance the development of the agenda. He said, of course, the agenda that they have planned for the financial year 2023-2024. Well, and that is it for now. It's 23 minutes past 8. Still driving your business here on your daily Kickstarter. Manju Barije with Masi Katsume. Of course, giving you this relatable business information, very key and vital for decision making and implementation. Well, don't forget the markets on the Zabo platform as I speak right now have already opened just a few minutes back. They open at 8:15 a.m. and they will be closing at 3:15 p.m. And of course, it's effective Monday up to Friday, except on the weekends and the public holidays where the markets are fully closed. But at least you have the rest of the days to capitalize and make yourself quite some good profits for you. Now, Zab just made this a reality with just 15,000. You're trading these stocks. There is no excuse as why you don't own government bonds and securities. Yes, it's now not an excuse. Disabu made this a reality. Any part of the country you're located at, you're in position to own these government bonds and securities, and life will be made much more easy. I always say they are very key and very beneficial when it comes to offsetting your trade deficits, which you might have incurred throughout the week. Now, Disabu says my money, my future, and Alterx East Africa tells you do something new. And of course, it's 2023. We gotta do things a little bit much more different. We can't do things, Mercy. There is this aspect of, it's common, but if you really give it some time, it's something to think about. Sometimes we want different things, but we want to keep on. Okay, we want different results, but we keep doing the same input. That's the greatest deception you can ever do for you. So you want to get yourself side income? Well, try stocks. We'll be getting some good money for you. Yeah. Okay, now let's get into the break, and of course, more interesting topics coming up. Good morning.
Smart 24